Today I'm going to talk to you about the feeling body. The feeling body is what most people call the emotional body, so you can use these two terms interchangeably. Your feeling body is the truth of who you are at a feeling level. This layer of you contains the imprints of the emotional aspect of your memories, as well as your current emotional state. It is the bridge between our physical selves and our thinking selves. The feeling body interprets and translates the thoughts projected forth by both your consciousness and also by your human mind into feeling states or feeling signatures. This is the first step that takes place for a being to have a first-hand experience of a thought. This enables the thought to be actualized instead of remain abstract, which in turn enables us to learn and gain awareness better and faster, and enables universal as well as personal expansion. Because of the emotional body, man is able to experience their own thoughts. The thoughts are converted into feeling impressions. The physical body then interprets those feeling impressions as if translating the message. It converts those feeling messages into neuropeptides and hormones that cause the physical reactions in our body that we call emotions. Emotions ranging from anger to fear, to stress, to irritation, to love, compassion, hope, and happiness. The feeling body specializes in feeling. Feeling is not only about emotion, it is about sensation and perception. Even though emotion does not exist beyond the physical body, feeling does exist beyond the physical body. An emotion is a physiological experience of a feeling. A feeling is a sensation-based perception and form of awareness. The feeling body is not an actual tangible body like the physical body is, but it can be understood and represented through the format of an actual body. Often you will find that the emotional body represents itself symbolically to you in dream time or in an out-of-body experience through the context of an actual body. With practice, you won't need to facilitate an altered consciousness experience like meditation in order to see someone's emotional body, or at least the symbolic representation of their emotional body. You can switch your focus at will and see that layer of a person's consciousness. Here's an example of the first time I asked for the emotional body of one of my relatives to convey itself as an actual body image. I had always considered myself to be more unstable and affected than this particular relative of mine. After all, he is stoic, he believes in hard work, he has a confident, independent air about him, he has a gotta break some eggs to make an omelet attitude about life. But when his feeling body revealed itself to me, it was gray-blue in color, it was hunched over at the shoulders, it was leaning lopsidedly to its left, its gaze was towards the floor, its movements were contained, and most shockingly of all, it was covered, especially the left side of its face, with large, disfiguring, raised scars. Scars bad enough that it was as if they had been caused by a meat grinder. The energy of my relative's emotional body was the energy of suppression and deeply imprisoned grief. Inherent within this experience is a general tendency that you see within the universe. That is, that when we have a severe wound that is made to one level of our consciousness, the other level will compensate. For example, somebody who is wounded on an emotional level will compensate with their body. Someone who has a very weak or an unhealthy emotional body might have a very strong and confident exterior body, physical body. Or, that same scenario, someone that has a weakened emotional body might display an extreme strength in their spiritual body. They may be able to induce out-of-body experiences at will. They may be able to switch into a more enlightened perspective. That this compensation that's done on one level or another of a being creates a fractured self. It creates a consciousness that is in a state of non-integration. So why is the feeling body so important? It is the translator between the observer-based consciousness of the mind and first-person physical experience-based consciousness of the person. It is what makes us able to experience thought as real, In fact, without your feelings, nothing about your physical reality would seem real. Your sense of life and feeling-based conclusions about life are contained within the feeling body. Your interpretations are contained within the feeling body. Your emotional trauma is contained within the emotional body. If your interpretations of life are experienced as painful emotions, and if your sense of life is painful, and if the feeling-based conclusions you've drawn about life are painful, and if the feeling state of your memories are painful, and your feelings dictate what is real and what is not, then your feeling body will continue to convey those painful messages to the body, which will be interpreted as unpleasant emotion within the body. This leads to an unhappy life. This leads to addiction. This leads to failed relationships. Basically, this leads to the physical reflection of those emotional states. And you cannot stop reliving and reliving the trauma. This means you can't ever be in the present moment. You can't ever be fully present with yourself in the here and now, because the past trauma continues to come up again and again in order to reintegrate itself. It is asking you to become whole. This means that if I experienced an interaction with my father when I was young where I felt abandoned, I will continue to create and manifest more and more and more scenarios over the course of my life where I feel abandoned. If healing must occur on the emotional and feeling level of your life, then you must address those issues on the feeling and emotional level, no other level. But here's the catch. The minute that you decide you need to heal something about your emotions, you have now made an enemy of your own emotions. You have made them not okay. You've decided that you need to fix something about them, and so you are in a state of resistance to them. The minute you say, I need to heal, this implies you have to change or fix something about yourself, which means that you disapprove of yourself. The best way to damage yourself emotionally is to look at yourself as if something needs to change. You know how painful it is to have someone tell you that you are not okay the way you are, that you have to be different. This is how the feeling body feels when we convey that it is not okay, that it needs to be different. If we approach our feeling body with an attitude of I need to fix you, you have just taken a serrated knife to a wound. You have not healed anything. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to completely embrace your emotions and your feelings, no matter how painful or uncomfortable they may be. The alternative is to completely be present with and to sit with your emotions. It's to learn from them, to hear what they want you to hear, to see what they want you to see. It is to be fully present without asking them to change. We call this the process of integration instead of healing. Every day for 20 minutes at least, and anytime you have a particularly intense emotional reaction to something, find a quiet and comfortable place to completely be with how you feel. Observe the sensations and feelings and emotions in your body. They will intensify as you focus on them. Breathe continuously without unnecessary pauses between breaths, breathing in and out the nose. Notice the way you feel. Your entire goal is to be with your feelings, which is to fully be with yourself. If you like, you can repeat one sentence to your emotions like a mantra. I am completely here with you now. Keep in mind that this process is not only for negative emotional states, it's also for positive emotional states. It just so happens that we most often suppress and try to distance ourselves from negative emotional states. That's why they are unintegrated. But some people find that being with their positive emotions is in fact more difficult than being with their negative ones. After you have been with the emotion completely, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and you feel like you want to know more about the emotion, ask yourself 3 questions. The first question is, how do I feel? This is your opportunity to bring the feelings to your conscious awareness and name what is occurring within you. 2. When did I last experience this exact same feeling? Without looking for the answer, allow your being to offer up the answer like a stream washing something downstream to you. 3. When did I first experience this same feeling in my life? Again, without looking for the answer, Allow your being to offer up the answer, like a stream washing something downstream to you. If nothing comes, be patient with that. The most important thing to realize about this process is that it will unfold exactly as it's meant to. The most crucial part of doing this process is to trust the process fully, because that's to trust yourself to know what it needs to do to reintegrate, which it does. Oftentimes, when we, in our feeling state, our charged feeling state, experience that traumatic memory, the memory happened at such a young age that we did not have our cognitive understanding yet. Our brain was not fully formed. We were in the emotional self instead of in the mental self, because the mental self begins to kick in around 8 years old. So if you have integrated, or in the process of integrating, a memory that happened before age 8, then you will know that you may not get solid images in association with a memory. You may literally only be dealing with emotions that you have no context for. That's okay. Trust yourself. You do not need to have cognitive understanding unless you're meant to have cognitive understanding. Unless having that cognitive understanding, that logical understanding of what is occurring within you emotionally, is a part of you integrating and healing the emotional body. If you find yourself experiencing an emotionally traumatic memory, observe the memory and then mentally alter the memory in a way that feels emotionally positive. This is what they call inner child work. For example, if you're taken into a memory where your father left you, imagine the adult you approaching the child you and enabling the child to feel better. Either become the stable parent for your inner child, or give the child a reliable father figure of their choice, or explain the entire situation objectively to the child and help them to not take the experience so personally. Altering a memory in this way actually changes the causation of that trauma. All things you experience in your life are in essence an effect of the original trauma which you experienced in your childhood. When you go back in your mind and you alter the experience in memory, you alter all of the branches that are coming off of that root, all of the symptoms, which are the surface events that you're experiencing, will change as a result of it. You are affecting the blueprint of your entire reality, because we live in a universe where time does not exist.